Good evening. Thank you for meeting me here tonight. I understand that you've met me here in regards to getting 4 questions answered. So first question is, now that it's time to renew your BAS, what are the CPE requirements that you need to meet? The second question being, as a senior bookkeeper with a BAS registration, what are the requirements that you need to meet? Third question being is to state you'd like me to state 7 activities that would satisfy the BAS board in proving that you've done your CPE. And the fourth question is to define a SMART goal, which has actually been one of the more interesting theories that we've learned about this year. But let's start off with the BAS. So question 1. So in order to renew your business activity statement registration, you would need to be able to prove that over the last 3 years you've actually completed 45 hours of CPE. So you need to make sure that within each of those 3 years that you've completed the minimum of 5 hours. So you can't do it all at the beginning, you can't do it all at the end, you can't do it all in the middle. You need to make sure that you've completed at least 5 hours per year with 45 hours overall. You need to be able to convince them that you're still a fit and proper person. And what do they mean when they say fit and proper person? Because this could be real vague. So all you need to do is go onto the website. So you will see that they want someone to be of good fame, with integrity. And so there are a few offences that you can't have committed within the last 5 years. So we're going to go and name a few examples. There's a lot of examples there, but we're not going to name them all as we only have 10 minutes. So if you can't have committed a tax offence of any kind, you can't have committed and also been proven to have done so. So you can't have committed a tax fraud. You can't have been found to be promoting tax fraud schemes, and you can't have been declared bankrupt. You must also make sure that you have submitted your application on time. So when they say on time, they don't want it more than 90 days in advance. So you can submit it when it's 90 days in advance, but you also can't submit it after 30 days. But 30 days before expiry, you need to make sure that it's completed. You will need to pay the $140 fee. And you must also make sure that you maintain and have, at the time of application, professional indemnity insurance. So, indemnity insurance, sorry. So you need to make sure that you still have that and you maintain it. So once all that has been satisfied, then you should be able to renew your BAS registration. So secondly, so when we look at the way that the question is written, I can ascertain that this person is not a company or a partner. Otherwise, they'd have a different job title. They'd either be called a partner or a CEO or something like that. So again, they must do everything the last person's done. So they must do their 5 hours a year. They must also, though, so regardless of how many hours you've already done, you need to make sure that you continuously learn any updates to legislation. So that would count as your CPE, having to attend seminars or attend training in regards to learning new legislation. You have an ethical and moral obligation to, again, if you're trying to be honest as we're supposed to be, you don't want to be doing bad jobs. You have an ethical and moral obligation to complete training for any competency gaps. And you also need to be able to complete any company mandated CPE. So that's what I would say that in the second question that they would need to make sure they complete. So question 3, so there are a lot of activities that actually do satisfy the BAS board. It may not feel like that when I actually get into the real world and having to complete them for myself, but there are quite a few, at least on paper. So first of all, you've got your TAFE, level certificate. So if I wanted to go ahead and complete my Cert 4 in financial services after this, or my diploma in accounting or bookkeeping, that would definitely count towards my CPE. There are other smaller courses that could possibly go towards that, as long as they're to do with actual tax and learning about how tax and GST works. But those are the ones that were easiest to think of. You can also have Uni Cost of Qualifications, so your bachelor's, your master's degrees, your post and undergrad. You've got e-learning. A lot of actual unions have this for free on their websites, or if it's not for free, it's after you join as a member. And this can be a real hack to get in and do all of your CPE at a low cost. Structured conferences is another way. So when you go to a conference in regards to tax laws or in regards to working with GST, that's another way that will definitely count towards your CPE, as according to the Tax Practitioner Board's website. In-house training. So when your employer provides you training, that counts towards your CPE. Virtual workshops, on-the-job activities, observing and practical application counts towards your CPE. So reading peer-reviewed documents that are submitted for training also counts towards it. So if you've got to do pre-reading or after training reading, that also counts towards your CPE. And your ATO seminars definitely count towards your CPE, and especially because it's the same sort of big wing, as the Tax Practitioner Board is part of the ATO, so they definitely count that towards your CPE. So in regards to probably my favourite subject so far out of this working effectively in accounting and bookkeeping, is the SMART goals. So question 4, lucky last. So you're looking at your 5 basic principles: specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time-bound. So we go through specific. So what do you want to achieve specifically? All right, so it's not enough to say I want to be quicker at work. I want to get more things done. What do you want to get more done of? What do you want to be quicker at? How much do you want to do? So that's for your specific. So you pinpoint where you want to improve. Next is measurable. How are you going to, what is, measurables kind of is a two-parter. So it's you kind of work backwards. You go, okay, so what does improvement look like? And how do I measure if I got there or not? So if my co-workers are doing 7 returns a day and I'm doing 5, is it that I do 8? Is it that I get up to 6 and then I go from there? So you're measuring sort of where you're at now and where you want to be at. So achievable. So again, you want to be improving, you want to be stretching your goals, but you don't want to be stretching out for something you can't get. So if you need, you don't want to set yourself a SMART goal that is unachievable because it's not going to be good for anybody. Realistic. So this kind of plays into A little bit, but it's more like if you can't get things done because of lack of resources or anything like that, that's also plays into realistic. And time bound. So time is like, when do you want to see it get done by? What time have you set for yourself? What time do you want to see that turnaround by? And when you got to remember with T, your A and your R, you still can't forget about your A and your R. It'd be great to say, oh, I want to get it done in 2 weeks, but you got to look at it realistically and achievably. So essentially, the SMART goals, no pun intended, is a really smart or clever way of setting yourself up and keeping yourself in check. Or if you're working in management, doing the same with, not demanding, but with your team. Anyway, that's it from me. I hope that's answered everything that you would like to see out of this assessment.